Okay, well, let's continue. We're going to work on the dirt now. Yay, coloring dirt. How exciting. We're going to do the dark brown, the sandbar brown, and the artichoke. All right, so with dirt, I put the dark brown over on the left right here. Sandbar brown, artichoke. Oh, did I have French gray in there? Dirt brown. Yes. Why do I have French gray? Yes, I do. I know why. Well, we're also doing French gray. French gray. I have it in my basket somewhere. French gray, 90% French gray. 1072. That's 1076. Here it is. Okay. I'm so well prepared. And we have French gray, 50% French gray is what it is. So I'm going to put this down for you. 50% French gray. 50%, because it's going to be kind of like, some of it will be like crushed gravel. You know, you get some of a little bit of that grayish brown tone. So these are the colors. And we're going to start with the dark brown. And the dark brown is mostly going to go, let's say we're going to start over here. It's going to kind of outline these little mounds where you see the little squiggles. You see what I mean? So like right here in front of his hand, we're going to outline and just kind of like bring down a little bit of that brown. There we go. All right. So wherever we see these little dirt mound lines, we're going to put these here. Okay. Let's do it where we can outline where the dirt is, right up by the bushes. So like between the fingers, I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. Bring it a little bit down. All right. There we go. Just putting in some dark. Let's do this mound right here. Okay, some squiggles. Let's go over to this side. We'll put it in here around the tree. Around the tree. Wherever we see all these little dirt lines. Just to kind of give it some texture and shadowing. All right. All right, so we have, let's see, gravestone. So right here where this hand's sticking out, there's almost, that's where it's gonna be more gray. There's gonna be like rocks and whatnot. We'll just do the brown right around the line, but that's almost like where you get some like crushed up gravel and kind of grayish brown type dirt here. So outline that a little. Outline this one. Okay. There we go. A little bit there. Here's some more dirt line here. Dirt everywhere. Some grayish, brownish, ugly dirt. Let's see. So that's like a fallen cross right there. Where else? Trying to get right at that line, looking around. There's some right here in the front. All right. Okay. There we go. Around the front of this tombstone, or gravestone, whatever is the difference, I'm not sure. I'm gonna just put a little bit over here, just so it's kind of consistent. Okay, a little bit there, a little bit there. So let's go. Let's go to the sandbar brown. And we're going to kind of color into and just under where we put in that dark brown, like kind of overlap it and like bring down some of those colors. So I'm just gonna kind of like squiggle and bring it down, blend over and bring it down a little bit everywhere we had that brown. We're just gonna start filling in some white space with it. Maybe just kind of get in some sandbar brown. A little bit here. Just kind of squiggling it in everywhere we kind of go. Here, we're gonna bring this down a little like that. Bring this down, down. I want to put in some gray in the artichoke before we go over it more with the brown. Let's go over here. Okay. gonna bring in some of this color down here, a little bit here. I'm gonna go around these rocks best I can. This is gonna be some more, mostly like more gray up here, but just a little bit right here. French gray has a lot of brown in it, so it's more like a grayish brown. It's bordering like tan and the first entry color into the gray shade. It's actually a really good neutral color. It's good for hair too, any of the French gray tones. It's more like a muted brown. Okay. Let's go down here. I'm going to color a little bit into this. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of this French gray. I haven't sharpened mine. We're going to particularly focus around here where these mounds are and the rocks, where the corpses, I guess they're corpses. And I'm actually going to kind of like squiggle around. So it's like we're going to fill in, kind of weave in a little bit of artichoke before we go back over it. So I'm just going to squiggle it around, leave some white space. We are blending a little bit into this brown, but same here, we're going to blend a little bit into it, and then just into that white space we're going to leave some white and overlap some. Just kind of like fluffing it in here and there. All right. Just kind of weaving in a little bit here, a little bit around this hand, a little bit here. And some of the artichoke too, more around where the plants are. Let's go over here. Let's go up here, around the rocks. The artichoke is a tannish green. It's very dull, like it has a little bit of grayish brown in it even. It doesn't look like a vibrant, like army green color artichoke you'd see in a store. I don't know how they come up with their color names or what, but Starjoy Gold has some great color names, like Orange Sorbet and Acai Smoothie, and like things that are like spot on, like Grasshopper, and just names I've never heard of, which are really kind of cool. Right. Uh-oh. I missed a whole section right here, except that some of this is going to be some bushes. So I'm going to take my dark brown and just squiggle a little at the base of those bushes. And go in here with my sandbar gray, which you should do as well. Don't know how I missed that. Maybe my hand was covering it or something. All right, so let's take the artichoke, just to show like there might be some little remnants of what was once green in life and now it's turning to dark decay, depravity. There you are. Couldn't find artichoke. Okay, so mine's very sharp, but I'm putting it in here kind of light. We're going to end up blending these, as I'm sure you can imagine. So we're just going to squiggle this in wherever there's some white space left. And I'm going to overlap again with some of these other colors again. We're going to create like a natural terrain. Right now I'm just hitting more of the... You can almost see it take on a little bit of life tint. I'm not going to put it in every area, just some. Just weaving it in a little bit here or there. We'll go back over it with the French gray and the artichoke. And it's really just a slight tint. Oh, I missed another spot right here. Hidden little French gray in here. And the best way to get like a natural looking like terrain is to layer these colors in a non-specific way or pattern, so it looks like when you're looking at dirt, you know, it's going to look, depending on where the light hits it, it'll look darker or lighter or splotchy or speckled, or it's just, you know, it's not going to look flat. Okay, we're leaving some white in there to put some more colors in. Let's go over here. I'm going to fill in a little bit around these rocks. Okay, getting a little bit around here. All right. It's really all about we need. Get a little bit right here. I think these are all bushes. So let's go back to the sandbar brown. Sandbar brown. I do believe that I didn't touch enough artichoke right here. All right, so sandbar brown. I'm gonna use my flat area. I'm gonna put in a little more toward some random areas, but more toward the top of the dirt piles, but maybe a little bit here and there, just kind of random. I want to deepen up and have multi shades here. We'll put in a little more French gray. Okay. We'll add some more in a little bit. Apparently there's more around here. I missed. I'll add in some there. I'll add some more French gray there too. Okay, coming along. Let's get some down here added in. I think this will be a really nice looking picture, and I love this book. It's not too gory. It's not like some of the original Mythogorias that were like terrifying, or the dark art. It's like mythographic, but it's got like mild horror. This one's more gothic though. I think. More like Gothic romance. There's nothing too terrible. I think I saw one thing that was terrible-ish was for those people that were on spikes. I don't know if that was this book or the Poison Passion book, but... Okay, let's do the French gray again. Gonna concentrate some of this grays here around the hands that are coming out. Or it's gonna look like there might be more dirt or more like crushed rocks or more gray right there. And so that way also this area will stand out more. We are gonna blend, but I do want these areas to stand out more. Okay, where else do we have gray here? Around him, right around here is French gray. I'm just keep on getting in some of these grays here and there. Want to look amazing when we blend it. Darkening here and there, darkening a little over here. A little bit of these mounds. Bottom mound. Okay. I'm just going to take the artichoke and put in a little bit more here and there. This, remember, we're weaving in all these colors to make like a natural terrain. So when we blend, we'll see all those different shades. Not too heavy. I mean, don't want it to look too green. It's a dead, decrepity area. Over here, it'll look more like a golden, I think, golden brown. I could almost put in a little bit of cool gray even, might be good. Yeah, I think we want to do that. Well, first let's get the dark brown. I want to darken up with the sharp, kind of where the dirt line stops. We got to do this before we blend, remember? So just kind of curl it in there. Just wanted to darken up a little bit at those mounds where you can see that darker brown where the dirt shadows are. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of a cool gray. I think I have one in our basket, and get a little bit more of actual gray in. Almost done though, in case you're wondering. Let me take that sandbar brown and just, wherever you add it in kind of dark, just try to blend that sandbar brown right at the base of it so it's not like too much of a harsh transition when we blend it out. Just go over a little bit. Okay. I should have, I'm going to put in this 50% cool gray. 50%. And I don't have a card for it, but we're just going to weave a little bit of this in. Just a little bit of gray in some spots. I think I like how that'll look when it blends a little better. And that tint of gray and the dirt makes it look kind of like everything's dead, you know, and dismal. And it'll be a nice complement to the gray stones, headstones. I'll probably use a gray artist pen and a black pen for the rocks so they pop out more, the little rocks, instead of a pencil. This is definitely better. Getting a little of this cool gray. All right. Boy, we're really putting effort into this dirt, aren't we? Gotta have good dirt. I mean, this covers like a third of the whole page. Your eye's gonna notice it, so it's gotta look as good as we can make it, I guess. But I have a process that should work. I'm just really getting some of that gray in here. All right. All right. I think we're good to go. Ready to blend. A little bit of French gray here or there. And this is kind of covering up the artichoke and the amazingly still a lot of white space here, so the blending's gonna take a while, not too long maybe. Let's find out. Got my blender stick. So I'm going to start the blending. Alexa, stop. I'll start at the bottom of each section and just work my way upward. Hold your paper down flat. You're gonna need to use some elbow grease here, so my camera will be shaking. Yeah, so I'm blending from the light upward to the darker area with each section. Then I'll come back and go right over that dark brown. I don't want to go over the dark brown yet because I don't want to pull that into other colors. But right now I'm just getting the base area of all the other colors besides the dark brown. And work our way up. Okay. Hold your paper down. Okay. Gotta get here between the fingers. Around everything, all these plants. Let's get over here. I kind of go like between the two dark areas. There we go. All right, that's good. It's a lot of areas though. Just weaving around those flowers carefully. That's why we didn't put any color in yet. We don't want to catch any of the color of the flowers and pull it into the dirt. Technically, this dirt is considered a backdrop because it takes up half of the background of the character. So, you know, it's an important part of the picture. As boring as dirt is, it takes up a lot of space. Right. Okay. Now I'm kind of going over that dark area and blending that into the whole area. If that makes sense. Let's go back now. I'm going to blend over the dark area around these rocks and into the whole area. We're going to kind of blend it over. We're going to tie all that dirt together. I'm going to actually soften up that dirt line too, where we did that dark brown, by going over it. Okay. Okay. Oops. Let's get up here. It's going to be definitely one of those longer tutorials like when I did Carrie. In all hindsight though, the rest of this backdrop I'm going to do in a black alcohol marker, which not only does it look more rich and bold, it saves a lot of time than trying to do it in pencil, and it saves a Prismacolor pencil using up, you know, half your black for a big background like that, especially if you want to get it nice and dark. So we'll be able to use any black alcohol marker you have. I'll probably use one of my higher quality ones, and I'll probably do 2 little rounds to make it nice and dark. So that goes way quicker when you can use marker. And yes, it's going to bleed through, but that's okay because these books are single-sided and I'm fine with that. There we go. Woo! I need to blend right over these ones here. These ones look a little clunky. That's good. Right over there. Right over around here. Trying to make sure I don't skip any areas. All looks nice and smooth. Once it feels like you can't rub any more of this on and it starts feeling slippery, then you know you've got everything covered. Okay. Fortunately, this side is much smaller. I'm gonna pick off a little, get a fresh start, and let's start here at the bottom. There we go. Hold your paper down. I'm gonna be doing this pretty hard over here. Pull the crumbs off your tip. Go around that hand. Okay. Yeah, when you look close, you can see a little bit of gold, a little bit of greenish gold, some brown, some tan, a little gray tint. That's what we're looking for. And I'll zoom in and kind of show you how this ends up looking. We are about done. Have I gotten everything? Really gotta look close. I always miss spots. I don't know why my eye like tricks me. Okay, yep, right there on the bush. Yes, I did right here. I need to get in and do a little bit of dirt around this tombstone here. Some of this I think is bushes. Some is not. Okay, I got this. I think I got it all. I'm going to see if I can show you a little up close. Those tones, you can kind of see all these different tones. So you get some grayish, some goldish, some brownish, some yellowish. It just looks a little more natural the way we do it like that, which I know it takes forever, but it's well worth it. Let's go ahead and do all these small leaves, the little ones. And for the small leaves, we're just using marine green, moss green, and yellow ochre. We will start with the marine green. Don't want anything too vibrant. We're using these kind of yucky greens. So on these little leaves, I wonder, can I zoom in here? No. Maybe I can get this a little bit in my camera here. A little bit. I can do a few in the camera. Okay. On the closer camera, because you can't see the whole book because of how my camera's set up. So for these, I'm just gonna put, I think I'll do it. That's tough, actually. I'm gonna try show 2 different ways. I'm gonna color this in at the base. This is really the quicker way, but it doesn't always look as natural. And then a little bit down the side, a little bit down the side. The base here. Let's do 2 of them. Gonna color in at the base. The side, the side. We'll just have to do the whole bush, I guess, like that. Let's do this at the base. Up the side. I'll just do these 4 right here. Making it a little bit lighter in the middle where we're gonna add in some of that other green and yellow. Go up the side, and then at the base. Color that in. So then let's go with the marine green, moss green. The moss green, and I'm just gonna color kind of into that a little further up the side and a little bit up the side, and leave this like white kind of hole in the middle for the yellow. You see that? So we're gonna go up the side, bring it in just a little, leave a little white in the middle. This is just one way I like to do it with 3 colors. If one color is completely different, like that yellow, up the side, a little bit in the middle. Okay, let's do the yellow ochre. So then I'm just gonna put this yellow into the center and then overlap it a little. Overlap it, kind of blend this green, this yellow all into the greens. Just get it in there. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. Okay, so then take the darkest one again, which is the marine green, and we're gonna just darken it up at the base a little bit where we first started. Darken it up here at this base, up the side a little, darken it in at the base a little, up the side a little. Now we can overlap the other green, putting in some layers. All right. Moss green. Gonna go up Okay, so then get your blender, sharpen it. I'll just see how this looks. Make sure there's no brown on there from the dirt. Blend over that yellow in the middle here, and let's just blend this all color together, because we did touch the yellow over the green too. So now we can kind of get it all in here. All right. And I'm just kind of swirling around the blender to kind of move the color around. And yeah, I mean, it's subtle, but you get a little bit of touch of that, the different shades of green. That yellows kind of makes it look speckled. They're subtle. We don't want anything too vibrant, like I said, because we're in, you know, in a graveyard, and I didn't want to make them totally decrepit, because I don't want to do them brown, because we wouldn't see that with that brown dirt. And if I did the autumn colors like red, you know, red, yellow, orange, that'd be too bright. So I think this worked out well. So I'm going to zoom back out and just do the remainder of the leaves in this manner, which includes starting with, again, the marine green. And we're just doing all these little leaves here. So I'm really just going to do this on each one first. The bottom, go up the top. I'm actually going to speed things up here on double speed and just do the same thing we did here for all these little leaves, all the little ones here, not these 4 big ones, all the little leaves. It'll take a little bit, so I'll speed it up, and then you can watch and just kind of do what I showed you, and we'll continue. everyone. So we're going to continue. A few things have happened since I finished blending all of that dirt. The first thing that happened is I got a brand new iPhone and had to do the thing where I transfer the old phone data to the new phone data, and I had so many videos and tutorials on here that it took 3 days. So I got tired of waiting. Couldn't use my phone in that time. So I did a little stuff on here that I can just tell you what I did. First thing I did is I used a yellow Pitt artist pen. You can use any bright yellow water-based pen or alcohol marker to do these little stars in the sky. Okay. Then I used a black alcohol marker, a King Art. It is a budget alcohol marker for the background. It's a poor quality alcohol marker, so it looks kind of faded and splotchy. So that's going to be a base. I'm going to do another layer with another alcohol marker, probably my Copic or a really rich, juicy one. So I just wanted to get that first layer of black in there so I can see how things look. And so you can do the same with any black alcohol marker. And then I take a fine liner and get up close to the stars. When I put in the black alcohol marker, I do a wider kind of circle around it so I don't get too close and overlap them. Second thing I did is I did all this tall grass here. And I know in the swatch, I think I put Prussian green and ochre, but I actually ended up using an acrylic, a Staedtler pigment brush pen, and olive green, because it's actually very much like this, like a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, but it's a finer, a longer, skinnier point. And it was really easy to get in these grass blades, and I just did a solid color. So you can just still use that Prussian green pencil, go in there and do that up. You can use Pitt artist pen, whatever you want. Just do it a dark green, darkish to olive green, so it pops out over the grass. So that's really easy. The other thing I did while I was waiting is I put I have it here, a green gel pen, like a bright lime green gel pen, and I put all those dots on her face in it, and then on these hands. And you know, at first I was going to do the hands in that skin tone, but kind of green tint, faded flesh, rotten color. But when I first saw the stuff on her face, I couldn't quite figure out what it was. Then maybe it was supposed to be tears. That didn't seem right. And it's kind of hard to do tears because they're clear. So I thought it's gonna be like green slime, like coming off the monsters, like when he busts his hand out and the dirt, you see the big chunks come flying up. Some of it landed on her face. I'm thinking of like in Hocus Pocus, the guy that comes from underground, the green guy, he's got slime coming from him or whatever. Like that's what I was thinking. So I'm still gonna do the pencils around that, and hopefully that works out. I kind of like that little pop of color in there. Put 3 dots on his hat as well. So that's all I've done, but we'll see if this video looks brighter or different quality than the last one, because this is like a 3-phone upgrade from what I had. We're gonna go ahead and now do these big 2 leaves here, 3 big leaves. I did 1 here, but we're gonna do these other 3. And for that I have kelp green and sage green, or pale sage in 1089 and 1090. So let's take the kelp green, and I'm just going to kind of light and random put in this color. Kind of more like maybe a little bit along the spine here, or the vein in the middle, whatever. Nice and light. Maybe a little darker in the center, but then light as I'm going out a little. And we'll just shade in that pale sage on the sides. Now let's go up, let's do the bottom on this one too, and go up the sides. Go up I put a divider sheet there because I was doing alcohol marker, which I don't really need at the moment. Well, I'm still going to keep it there because I have the black. All right, since I'm putting pressure on the page. All right. Get that going here. Just touching in this color nice and light. Doing the bottom here. And I'm just gonna lightly shade at the top. Okay. I'm darkening this spine here a little before we do the blend, so you can see how that makes it kind of pop a little. Let's do the same over here at the bottom, inside this leaf here, up here. Just lightly kind of doing this, and we will quite gently put this pale sage back in. I'm going to put it in here. Just going to blend right on into the white parts and into that other color. I'll use a more firmer pressure. I will use the blender stick just to kind of blend that middle spine part in, but I'm laying this on kind of heavy because it's such a pale color. And we're staying away from those bright tones. The only bright thing we really have is that green, like slimy stuff, and you know, maybe her purple dress, but everything around it, I want it a little more pale. Okay, let's get the blender stick and just make sure there's no black on there, or purple or whatever, brown. Pick it off. I want to blend mostly over the middle to kind of soften up that center and spread a little bit into the middle parts. Perfect. I'm gonna grab my tea here. I left the wrong spot. All right. Okay. So let's nice and soft. Everything kind of melds in there well. So we're done with these two. We're gonna work on, I did realize I didn't get his hand, so that we need those white and those grays, but we can bring that back out later. I wanna go ahead and do these tombstones next. So I don't have it on the swatch, but we do want a black. I don't even know if we need the white. I can't find my 30% cool gray. So I guess we won't be using that one. I don't know why. Well, there's one more place I can check. Maybe I dropped it in the wrong basket. And I just found it. Wow. After I looked for like 20 minutes earlier. I didn't even look. I was looking all through all my cases. I thought I put it back in the wrong case. Well, I lied. So we do have 30% cool gray. So I'm going to sharpen that up. I'm not sure which of these lighter ones we'll need, but so that's 30% cool gray. Pull all your grays. I'm going to start with the black. Okay. Only need a black on a couple areas, so we'll do the black like this one here has like a stripe on it. I want to put some light black over this area. Okay, this one here, like along the bottom, this kind of stripe here. There's one up here, kind of on the bottom. We'll go over it with the cool gray one here. I'm doing it kind of like medium pressure, not very dark or anything. Okay. Let's go up the side here. Just did a little bit of the side. Not going to do the side on all of them. I don't want them all exactly the same. Let's do this one over here. Good. Just a little touch of black. I might put like a little black here on this line, maybe like that. Look like there's some etchings maybe. Oops. Okay, maybe a little bit like a little bit on right there. All right, so then put down like a line or two right there. Okay. And then we're going to go into the 90% cool gray, which is the next dark one. And I'm going to go over the black first. This is about 10% lighter than the black. So if you go up, you know, it's 90% cool gray. If you go up 10 more percent, you're at black. So. Just has a little more like white in it. It's not quite as stark. But that pale black marker in the sky was just a base. Like, I don't like to do both my coats with my expensive markers because then it uses up a lot of ink. But the inexpensive markers will make it look a little like streaky or pale or blotchy or faded. So go up here. For 1 minute because there's somebody at my door. Okay, I'm back now, and we're just touching in this 90% cool gray over the sides of the headstone here, over this black. A lot of this is just so we can give it some texture so it kind of stands out a little bit. I'm going to shade a little bit of this 90% into this sidebar here, just some, not a lot. I'm going to do a little bit wherever you see these kind of darker areas here, like these little kind of spots. We're gonna build the color in this, kind of like we did with the dirt. We're gonna kind of just weave in all the colors, create a non-specific natural look. Just kind of add this to some areas. All right, let's add some in this quadrant here. Add some right there. Let's add some wherever you see these kind of darker areas. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways to do cement, but usually I do it with alcohol markers, but this is the method I use for alcohol markers, and it works well, so we shall see. Gonna do a little bit down the side right here. A little bit on the side right there. Over here, I want to get a little bit more in the middle, maybe. down this line. Okay. All right, let's move to 70% cool gray. And I'm just gonna kind of get some down here and around these grass areas. Just gonna kind of start striping some of this in. Maybe a little more squiggle around these cracks. Let's go over here. I'm just gonna start weaving some of this in. I'm actually gonna darken it right around these little crack loops. I'm going to darken this other stripe above the blackish one, then go over the one under it because it needs a little blending. Go over this one. I'm going to darken up this one at the top. Darken up this area. Get a little on the bottom. Just kind of getting it in there, you see. Giving it some definition. Let's get a little more here at the top. And then I'm gonna just kind of stripe in some of this. Go over this cool gray. Going to darken up the side here. Maybe not entirely, just darken up the side. I think these ones we can actually put a little of the other colors into. These ones could be a little more subtle. Just kind of touching that color in. All right, let's get some in over here. Okay, got enough of that color in there. And the striping kind of gives it that aged, cracked look as well, which is another reason to kind of do it like this. Striping it in, all right. So that was the 70. We can go down now to the 50. Yeah, the 50. I'm going to use the 50 to finish darkening up the frame on these two here, or the edge of the tombstone. Okay. I'll get this done right here. Getting this all nice and dark. Okay, now we're just gonna lightly put in a little more of this. Stripe in some more, all the way down to the bottom. I didn't realize how low it goes, which will get a little bit darker down here by the dirt. Just adding a little, not too much. I'm going to follow the outline of this right here, this curved thing. Get a little darker on this side. We're going to do a little bit heavier right here because that's the side that's facing us, so we can see it better. Right. Gonna darken up here, here, right around the edge, on the top. And go down here. We got a good amount put in. Really, overall, the cement is generally faded. I'm going to darken the top of this with this one. So it's going to be right behind that black stripe. And I'm going to use a harder pressure so it's nice and dark gray. This one you gotta be a little more careful because you have to weave it around all these leaves. A little trickier. Don't want to get much. If you got a little gray on the leaves, it's no big deal because we wanted the leaves to look a little decrepit and dried out and brittle, but a little gray wouldn't be that abnormal actually. But you don't want it to be too obvious. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit more right at the base of the dirt to make like a little shadow where the dirt starts. You see that right there? Same with right here. Okay. So that's the 50. Let's go to the 30. We might only need the 20 after this. All right, we're just gonna keep layering this in. We're gonna start striping in this one. Make it look, see it's starting to look all crackly and like those stripes, these lines we're putting kind of look like cracks a little bit. Not fully getting it all, just good amount. Let's go over here. Good. Well, let's go over here. Same thing, we're going to kind of weave this around the flowers. Somebody's car alarm is going off outside. Make sure it's not one of ours. I gotta go check. Okay, definitely wasn't one of ours, except no one's coming to turn it off, so I guess it's going off. People aren't home, which means we all get to suffer. I had to close my windows. Okay. I was getting in a little more down here, as I recall. There we go. So that's the 30. We'll need the 20. However, I do want to get like the 90. I want to stripe in a little bit more. Just a little more texture maybe. Now you can always go back too and write on these if you have a really sharp fine liner, some funny sayings, or I do that sometimes. My favorite is, well, that didn't go as planned. That's funny. Let's darken it a little bit here. I feel like we need a few more darker accents before we do any blending and get the lightest shade in. Okay. Now maybe grab the 50 again too. That's a little bit of a darker one. We can because you do need a good amount of darker texture before you blend. A little darker at the top there. Okay. All right. Now we can do the 20%. I don't have a card for it. So we're just gonna get some of this in. I might even still touch in the 10 and use that as a final little blend. So I'm just kind of going to go to the ends here and add it. All right. And now I'm going to take the 10%. I'm going to use this as kind of a, I'm going to just on this little one, I'm going to use it to blend a little harder. I still think we need to use the blender. I thought maybe we could do it with this pencil, but so I'm just touching this in so it looks a little, it almost functions as a white almost. Okay. trick is just to layer all these grays and kind of non-specific patterns. So like cement would be old and crackly and splotchy, and some faded and some darker and some chipped and some just dinged or whatever. It's usually not completely flat color. And when you're coloring, you can do whatever you want to make things whatever color you want, even if it wasn't completely realistic. I do both. Okay. Oh, the alarm went off, so that's a good sign, I think. I can't close my window, but I think it's closed. Okay. Excuse me. We're going to give it a go with the blender stick. I'm going to just start on the light areas. I'm not really going to do those borders very much until the end. And it's okay to overlap some of the darker squiggles, so to speak, so it looks like it'll kind of smear and make like a natural cement pattern, so to speak. Gonna do this one pretty hard, and it is gonna make it look a little smeary or streaky or stripy, whatever you want to call it, which was intentional because that's kind of like the grooves in the cement. That's why normally I wouldn't go to such a light, like a 10% as the final color to overlap everything, but we want to show all these little blends and grooves, since it's supposed to be concrete, which is the same as cement, maybe? I'm not sure if that's the same thing, but okay. I'm going to use the 50% and just get this area close to the sky that I missed. Okay, let's work on this one here. It's going to soften and smear up everything, but that's what we want. Ooh, that one looks good. And if it gets too thick, pick off what's on the end of the blender. If you get too much gunk up on it, then it doesn't feel like it's blending as well. Same thing, I didn't get too close to the black sky because I didn't want to overlap. I'm going to get right here with this 50%. It's better. Right at the edge of the sky here. Between this little flower. patient. There we go. Gonna take this 50% around the edge here, around the edge. It's really hard to get up to the edge without bringing in the dirt color into it. Okay, I can touch that back up. The black sky, anything I went over when I redo it. Okay, I need to sharpen so I can get into some of these smaller areas around the branches. Okay. All right. I think I mostly got it. This is the time-consuming part. Sorry, boring, but you'll see it's worth it in the end. Okay, I do need to pick a color. Oh, I have the colors for his hat we'll do next, and then I need to pick a color for these other bushes. We are going to be done pretty soon. A few things I can do off camera, can use, such as touching up the sky and whatnot. I'm going to show you how to do some white twinkly stars in the sky. Okay. Woo. All right, so I think we're done with the tombstones. You can take your 10% gray if you want, touch in a little here or there. You can even put in a little bit of white, which I might do. I don't think I have my white pencil right here. So we're done with the tombstones for now. Again, you can write on some of the tombstones if you want with a really thin fine liner. Actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and try that. I don't know how well it's gonna go over the alcohol, the blender though. Let me try. No, it doesn't. It was because of the blender stick has that waxy stuff on it. You'd have to use like a Sharpie, but it wouldn't be thick enough. So I'll have to leave it. Darn it. Okay, well, we're gonna do his hat now, and I have some pretty colors picked out for his hat, which I added to the swatch, which is black grape, black cherry, mahogany red. Oh, and by the way, another thing that I did, I forgot to tell you guys, I did the dark umber, which is in the swatch right here on these branches. Just got a little bit on here, but yeah, so a really sharp pencil, the dark umber, and I did that off camera too. I forgot to tell you that I put in, you can also use a brown pit artist pen, something really fine and rich in color. You wanted these branches to really pop. I had to do multiple hard layers to kind of get this look. I'm gonna retouch it. I got some stuff on there. Yeah, so that's just the dark umber, one color. All right. We should be using this for something else. I don't remember. Okay. Well, the hat. So the hat, I have black grape, mahogany red, and black cherry. And if I were to put these colors in the swatch, which I haven't, black cherry, we'll see which is darker. Black grape is the darkest, has more purple in it. Mahogany red is a little lighter than the cherry. And then I also didn't add the dark umber here. And my blue pen finally died, so I had to switch to a green one. Okay. So we can start with the black grape. And work on his hat. What I'd like to do is, all right, so we're going to go ahead and, we did put a few of those green dots in there. I'm going to, I'm actually going to do it darker in the little areas that are ripped. I think you're really supposed to do lighter there, but I like to do it darker. I'm going to do it. Now, we don't want to put a lot of the super dark around the black because we won't see it, but we can put it closer to his head, which is white. So we can put some in this round the top part of that fold, then along this whole fold right here. There we go. I'm going to go up along the top a little, just around the line. We'll put some, still want to save some room for some red up there. And then there's some kind of scratchy areas here already. Then I'm going to just color a little bit around the sides, but not all the way up to the edge. Kind of leave this for the, so that we can put the more red closer to the sky. And then I'm gonna kind of just color the bottom straight across, nice and soft here. Okay, so then we can move to the black cherry. And with that one, I'm gonna get some more at the top, but not all. Leave a little bit for the red. I'm gonna get a little bit of the part that sticks out here and here. A little bit of the sliver, leave a little room for the red. A little bit room for the red near the exterior. I'm just going to kind of lightly shade over. Get a little bit of this in all over, kind of. Okay. That's it for that, and then we'll put in the mahogany red. This one will finish filling in at the bottom here. I'm gonna try to fill in, grow around that little green and fill in most of this white space here. Up here too. All right, we can kind of get this in. So I'm going to actually stop and not do the full blend yet. I want to go back to the black grape, and I want to put in a little more that dark areas, maybe some up here. Okay. The black cherry. Okay. A little bit more on the stripe of his hat right there. Then we'll touch in the red a final time. Okay. So now we can blend. Get your Prismacolor blender. looks great. And might take the black gray, but just touch a little bit back in right up here. I can't get any in there. Just enough to make a little bit of a shadow. Didn't want it to be as red as his coat, and I wanted to use a combination of reddish and purplish to accent her dress. So that's why I chose a black grape and the mahogany red. You can see a little bit of these. All right, now we just have to do, I'm gonna touch up his hands here, what I do. So I'm gonna grab my white, my 20% gray, and a little bit of my 50% cool gray or whatever. You guys might have already done that. I somehow missed it. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of this in. I'm gonna actually use a Pitt Artist pen, a gray Pitt Artist pen, to put a little bit of definition more into his skull. Because if you did just white, we wouldn't see it. And you know, the gray tint makes it look more like rotting bones, I guess. That's a little better. Okay. All right, so I'm going to, can't get much more gray in here, but I'm going to touch it. I can use it with my pencil. This is my 50%. Get a little bit right there. Okay. Excellent. So we have left, for these dirt chunks that are kind of tossed up here, I want to use dark umber and dark brown. The dark umber is darker. And so basically that's for like around this area. I'm going to do half of these bigger dirt areas in the umber. Like go just straight up one side, or half moon around the edge of it down here too. Then I'm going to switch with them in my hand, just back and forth, to the dark brown. I didn't want to use much lighter colored dirt because it wouldn't show up against their clothes like the color we have on the ground. So I wanted to show a little more brown, a little more dirty soil. Okay. Even then you can't see it a whole lot. Some of these are going to be gray, like little rocks, which we're going to have to use an alcohol marker or a Pitt pen because we're not going to be able to get much. These are rocks. Put a little more dirt around here, maybe a little right there. This is just the umber. Okay. So I'm actually going to go grab, I'm going to get some colors for these bushes, get a gray alcohol marker, really darker gray pens. I'll show you what I do for these rocks, and we're going to do these hands, and we will be done. I'm going to show you how to do a little something in the sky. All right, I pulled some things. So I pulled out the darkest I could find in my 60 Pitt Artist pen set. I tried the lighter ones. It won't go over the rocks. I think a little bit too much of the blender might have touched those little tiny rocks. You can't even see it. So you're gonna have to do a few of them black. You can dab it to lighten it up after to look more like volcanic rock more or something like that. These two I already did black. Looking over here. There are some over here. I don't see. There's some, but they're kind of covered up. There are 4 here, but I'm going to dab them a little, lighten them up. And the ones in the front, let's try. So I have like a, well, this is dark indigo, but it might look more gray. Let's see. Nah, that's too blue. This one is warm gray. Probably get this one on her dress. You just can't hardly see them. Oh, it works a little bit. So I'm going to, for this bigger one, I'm going to use a combination. You can use pencils. I'm going to use a combination of this darker gray and maybe this. This one is called cold gray. You just blend those a little. Yeah, for the most part, you can't, because some of them were just so small, it was impossible to get a little bit of that Prismacolor blender stick on them. So you can use an acrylic paint pen. That's gray. It'd be like paint. That would work to go over the waxy blend. You can maybe see these a little. I'm kind of just going over them. If you don't have this, just use dark pencils, whatever dark colors that we were already using. Or whatever else you have. You can use tumbled brush pens or anything else that's dark. I'm just adding a little bit of this, squiggling around the area where his hand busts out to give a little shadow. Right here too, there. Okay, that actually just turns it more brown. This is considered the warm gray. And I'm just gonna touch up a few things. You can add a little more definition, like around Tombstone. And where the dirt line is. Right around there. Okay. I'm going to try to get this rock here. It's just so close in color to what's on the ground. So just play with your grays and French grays, the dark grays, and get what you can in there for the rocks. Try to vary it up a little. Or use an acrylic pen. Alcohol marker's fine since we're already doing a black background. It's okay if it leaks through. Make sure you have your blender papers in the back. Just going to take this gray and outline some of these dirt lines a little bit. Give it a little bit more definition there. Texture. Since it's, you can rub a little bit of it off because it's wet because it's sitting on top of the waxy pencils. But if you do it lightly, it'll still leave some of the color on there. Okay. Get in the corner where I want to touch up a little. So then I'll just take the, I wanted to show you this cool gray 3. You can actually add a little bit of definition on the skeleton of your pencil, like a little bit here, 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 if you want it to kind of pop out a little. Down on his hand. Kind of make it a little darker. That looks good. Just touching up anywhere I have any missing spots around the tombstones. You can stripe in a little on the tombstones if you want a little more texture look. That's why you love these pit pens. They're great for final details. Okay. So I did put makeup. I used a purple gel pen for her eyes and a black and purple gel pen, black on the bottom, purple on the top of her lips. I forgot to mention that I did that when I was out of a phone. I take that warm gray and just put in a little texture on the tree maybe too. It will dry, but I want to dab it just a little bit. Like it has a little bit more texture in that tree. Perfect. And you can go along that area if you have any white spots or anything you missed, which I did. All right, let's do the hands. Actually, let's do the bush first. I pulled some greens for the bush, so for that bush. And also, you can take your black too. If you need to make any of these rocks pop out more, just put black over that gray or that French gray, dab it, and it'll look, you'll be able to see them fine. Okay. Lightly dab it so you don't rub it all off. All right. So for the dirt, sorry, the bushes, I have Celadon green, which is PC 1020, Kelly green, which is PC 1096, and Sandbar brown 1094. And I just need to get this picture done. I'm days behind my production, so I'm not going to make any cards for these colors, so it'll be in the swatch. But we are going to start with the Sandbar brown, and all I'm really going to do is just get a little bit. Actually, I lied. I'm going to start with the Kelly green, because this is going to be darker. I'm going to get a little bit of this into these sort of squiggly areas you can see here in the tree. The brown is just to make it look kind of like it's dying and not getting enough water. So I'm just going to squiggle this in everywhere you see these little squigglies, which are like the texture on the bushes or the pokey parts or whatever this kind of bush is. Okay. All right, then take the Sandbar brown and get in a little bit in a light fashion, just here and there, just kind of squiggle it in around that green. Just kind of like wiggle it in. These colors are kind of light, so you might need to push down a little harder. Okay, now let's get in the lighter color, which is the Celadon green. We're just going to try to, I'm going to use a little harder pressure and try to get this in anywhere left that has white area. And it will blend together the sandbar, a kind of a yucky green color. You get it all in together, which is kind of what we want, like a bushes that are kind of dying and yucky. All right. Okay. All right. That looks pretty good. It almost looks a little kind of speckled. We're not going to even need the blender stick. We're using this green to blend everything. And I'm using a harder pressure now. Trying to get that waxy feel. It's a very subtle bush because these leaves are kind of, you know, pale green and rust color or whatever. And those already are not very dark. So we didn't want to drown them out by using too dark colors in the bushes. All right. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna put a little darker at the tips, maybe. Make sure you get everything. I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna color right over it. Okay. Great. So I will add these into the swatch, which I didn't yet. By the time you see it, it'll be written in there. All right, lastly, we have just left these little hands sticking up. And then I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna put my second layer of black on, and then I'm gonna show you how to do a few things in the sky. So for the dirt hands, I have green ochre, artichoke, 90% French gray, and 50% French gray. And the green shades are to give that decay kind of look. I hope I don't regret putting that slime look in there. So we're gonna do the darkest here is this 90% French gray. Let's start with that. I'm just gonna put this around like some of the where the shadows are, some of the palm, like the palm line, where the hand is made out here. I'm gonna give like some lines on the knuckles, a little bit along the side right there. Okay, a little bit down the side, just give a little shadow. Let's go over here, same thing, right around the palms. Give it some knuckles. Over here, we'll give it some knuckles. A little bit of just some dark, shadowy areas. Maybe around the base or finger. Not much. Don't need much. Okay. Next, we will do the green ochre. That's just to give it kind of a yucky look. I'm just going to lightly shade this in, kind of close to where I put in that dark. I'm doing it really light though. I'm going to do like the center of the fingers. Let's go over here. We're going to do a little bit into this. Let's go over here into the little brown areas, bring it into the white a little bit. Kind of squiggling it in here and there as well. A little bit on the fingers. Not too much, but we want to give it kind of that yucky look, you know. Okay, not too much green. Then we'll go in to the artichoke. This has more of that yellow, dead little skin look to it. I'm going to do a little bit at the tip of the fingers, the top of the fingers. I'll blend a little bit of this like in the center of the top of the hand here. Down here, I'm going to kind of just squiggle in a little bit. Do it really pale though, really light. Very light right around the center there. I mean, alternatively, you can do flesh colors, regular skin tones, and then just put a tint of gray or something gross in there. But these are, you know, carcassy type hands, like some monsters and slime, goo, and gross things. So you probably want to use gross colors. Let's go over here. Add a little bit on the fingers. Not too much. Okay. So lastly is the 50% French gray. And that's going to be more of our main color. If we had to, we could touch in a little bit of a cream or something, but I'm going to use this 50% French gray. I decided, yeah, I want to get a little cream in there, so I'm going to leave a little bit of white. Never quite done hands coming out of the ground like this before, so it's kind of an experiment, but I think we're on the right track. I want to just put in a touch of skin tone in there. So I'm just doing a little bit here and there to kind of soften the edges of where those darker colors are. Let's get some over here. Over here. Oh, did that one. Going over here. Just adding in a little. This one's a lot more white space, so I'm touching in a little bit more here. I'll use the cream as kind of an overlayer or to work as like a little blender. All right, I'm not sure if I have, no, I should have, let me see what I have from her skin tones in my basket. Ooh, the light peach should work. Let's use that. Let's use the light peach and see what happens. Let's go over to this little one first and just use it to kind of go over everything and fill in the white areas and use it because it's a lighter color. It's going to start looking like it's actually blending the colors for us. Yeah, and that's worked. You can see a little skin tone still in there, but also that brown and green, a little gray. Let's get over here, these fingers. So I'm actually going to do it a little kind of hard, then we might not need to use the blender if we can just use this to blend everything. I'm trying to go around the little green, the bright green gel pen I did. I still think I like that touch. Some people might not like it, but I think it looks kind of like gross, decaying monster hands. Now this is very close to the dirt color over here, I'm noticing. I might have to add a touch more. I'm going to go back and add in some cool gray artist pen, I think. Well, I mean, they do kind of, corpses start to become part of the dirt, you know, I guess, when they decay. So I guess maybe that's right. Yeah, but that helped blend it all out. And this one too, we can get the fingers. This one you can see obviously because it's over their clothes. I'm gonna go right over the nail. I go into the center of the palm, around this green, over all these brown colors. Got something in my eye that is bugging me. Yeah, this one you can see it's like a decaying kind of a color. It's like a skin tone grayish, greenish color. You can definitely see it better on the bigger one than the little one, and it's further away from the dirt, so it stands out a little bit more, I think. I think that's sufficient. I mean, if we want to take the blender, make sure there's no black on there. I can just blend more of that harsher line right there. I mean, yeah, it's still, yeah, that's, I mean, it still gives a better effect than doing it with just the pencil. Just in the big one, the little one you can't really tell. we're done. I'm actually also going to touch up this little plant with my peachy orange artist pen, so you can kind of see it over the gray stone. I got a little gray on it. I did that. So you can also do that as well. You can even touch a little bit of this into the leaves and then dab it to give it a little more color if you need to. I did a few, like one here, one here. Can do a few more here and here. Like it's dying out, really faded orange. Okay, I think that's good enough for our hand. I need to maybe put a little, well, his nails wouldn't be that white then. Or this him, I don't know, it's a him, it's an it. It's an it. I'll still take the gel pen. I think I'll do that so you can at least see the nails. So this one I'm going to take the gray pit pen and put a little gray in, maybe make it stand out a little more. That helps a little bit. A little bit gray there. Put a little gray into him over here. This is that Cool Gray 3. I'll try to link these all below. So most of them you can buy individually, but it really helps to have the set because I use them for so many details. You don't generally straight up color with them unless you're doing tiny little flowers or things of that nature. So I am putting a little bit here on his knuckles as well. Yeah, because it looks like he's coming out of the dirt more, which is good. Like he's, you know, been living under there, so he's kind of a part of it. But put a little bit of that gray, that helps. And then you could theoretically try a little white. You need to brighten it up. I don't think that's going to show much though. Not really. You can use a white acrylic pen if you wouldn't need to make it show a little more or something like that. Okay, I'm going to pause, grab my black marker. I'm going to touch up my background, and then I'm going to show you how to do some little stars in the sky. And we are all done. I'm going to show you how to do some eyelashes on her face. All right, so I actually did run over my black sky one more time. Another thing I did is I took my Faber-Castell my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and I put it over all the tombstones. Now it's drying now, you might not be able to tell, but I'll zoom in a minute. Just makes them look a little more dimensional, makes them not look quite as dull, like they looked with those grays. I took my Faber-Castell black pen. I put some lines down his spine so that pops out a little bit. I went over her eyebrows. And real quick, I want to take my Micron pen and do eyelashes on her coming downward. I also use my artist pen and give her two kind of like nose holes. I put it kind of black there so that sticks out a little. So I have here a white Jelly Roll pen. You have to kind of shake it. Is it dry enough? I think it is. So there's a way that I like to put little stars and whatnot in the sky. We'll see if this is activated. Let's see. This is not the white, this is the clear. So I grabbed the wrong one. This is the white Jelly Roll. Sorry, no wonder it wasn't showing. I'm gonna shake it. Gonna rub a little on my hand to get it going. Okay, so all I like to do to create like some stars in the sky, I like to hold it straight down and just dot it. Little dots. And against the black, they do kind of look a little like they twinkle. You can make little constellations, like do 3 or 4 little ones in a row. You can kind of make an Orion or something like that. And you want to make some really tiny, little tiny. Make some a little bigger. You can do a quick little squiggle line for like a shooting star. If I was doing snow, I wouldn't be on a black background. I'd be using my big white Posca pen for bigger snow like image. Some tiny little ones. Tiny, cluster some together. You can technically take a pan pastel white, really lightly dab a little cross over the black to make like a smoke or like gray cloud, but it's kind of risky if you don't, it could wreck your picture if you've never done it, and if you don't really want to risk doing that. If you haven't done it many times. And it can cover your stars, so you have to do it very light and sparingly. I might try that after I finish. So I'm going to do a couple there together, right there. I'm going to do like a little shooting star there. Up here too, do like a little shooting star. Can make some little ones that are all together. Some random ones. Basically, it's like twinkling stars on a night sky. Do a little bit more together right there. Do some kind of together, like a little falling star. You want it to be a nice, brilliant night sky. So, all right, so hopefully you can see that. It looks like kind of like little stars in the sky. Super easy. This I often will use for teeth and eye whites, but we don't really have any of that in these two cases. I mean, you could put a little bit in the center of his eye. Make it look like he still has an eye right there. Actually, it's not a bad look at all. So, yeah, I'm actually going to stop it here as far as this tutorial. I might play with it and do a little white smoke over it. A lot of people won't have the tools to do that. So I think for the tutorial we're done, and it took quite a while, but it was fun. And I hope you guys like how it turned out and like the color palette and learned a little something. I had a great time doing it. I will try to link some Soucolor alternatives if you only have Soucolors, which are the most similar, I think, to Prisma and a lot cheaper. And then some alternative colors. And thanks everybody. If you do the picture, please share it in the Facebook group. And I'll see you in another tutorial.